According to the World Health Organization, genetically modified organisms, also known as GMOs, refer to plants, animals, or microbes whose DNA has been altered using genetic engineering techniques to introduce desirable traits such as pest resistance or enhanced nutrition. Although humans for many years have been breeding plants and animals with more desirable traits through conventional modification techniques like crossbreeding and selective breeding, genetically modified foods was only approved in 1994 and have since sparked intense debate fueled by scientific evidence, economic interests, and public fears. Despite this, around 70 countries have adopted GM crops in some form, either planted or imported over the past 2 decades, according to the International Service for the Acquisition of Agri-Biotech Applications. Currently, over 190 million hectares of GM crops are planted globally in 29 countries. In 2018, Nigeria, through the National Biosafety Management Agency, joined the rest of the world in the use of GMOs by commercializing its first genetically modified crop, the BT cotton, in its bid to boost food productivity and drive economic development in the country. Since then, the country has approved the commercial release of the pod borer-resistant cowpea and the teller maize varieties that are insect-resistant and drought-tolerant to help address the looming food insecurity, which currently stands at 30.6 million, according to a 2025 report by the Food and Agriculture Organization.
Science and technology are fundamental drivers of progress, especially in agriculture. Innovation in agricultural biotechnology, mechanization, and climate-smart practices hold the potential to address food insecurity, improve livelihood, and empower smallholder farmers across Africa.
Technology has emerged as a beacon of hope in the field of agriculture, offering us innovative solutions to the pressing challenges that we face today. From climate change, induced stresses, to the need for increased food production to feed the growing population. The science of biotechnology has provided us with tools and techniques to navigate these complex issues.
Despite official assurances from bodies like the World Health Organization, the U.S. National Academies of Sciences, Engineering and Medicine, and the European Commission that approved GM foods as safe for human consumption, with no substantiated evidence of unique health risks compared to conventional foods, concerns about environmental impacts, corporate control, and long-term effects persist among sections of the public, especially members of the civil society.
With GMO seeds, you cannot replant. So every year, you have to subscribe to the seed supplier sitting somewhere in another country. What does that portray you as?
I haven't done much research, but the little I know is that it has to do with general perception, is that they are modified, they don't grow naturally, they are prepared probably in a lab, and their seeds don't regenerate. That's what we know.
In an interview with Clearview News Desk, the Assistant Director of the Agricultural Biotechnology Department at the National Biotechnology Research and Development Agency in Nigeria and the Nigerian Country Director for the Open Forum on Agricultural Biotechnology in Africa, Dr. Rose Kidadu, defended the use of genetically modified organisms, arguing that scientific evidence does not support claims that they are harmful.
First of all, I have to allay the fears of Nigerians about genetically modified organisms. And when I say genetically modified organisms, they are crops, plants, animals, microorganisms, that they are as safe as their conventional counterparts. They're not dangerous, they don't cause cancer, they are very safe because a lot of risk assessment is carried out during the development of these crops. And the guidelines, the regulations are actually always, they're developed by the WHO, the Food and Agricultural Organization, and all other international bodies. They've also done their safety assessments, safety evaluations, and they've concluded that they are as safe as their conventional counterparts. So, and in Nigeria, we have the National Biosafety Management Agency, which came into being in 2015, just to ensure that this technology is responsibly practiced. So, and the Nigerian biosafety environment, of course, is designed, to ensure the safe application of modern biotechnology while protecting human and environmental health.
Nigeria is one of 6 African nations that have embraced and are currently cultivating genetically modified crops. According to the International Service for the Acquisition of Agri-Biotech Applications, Ethiopia, Malawi, South Africa, Sudan, and Swaziland are among the others. During a visit to a farm for GM crops managed by the National Biotechnology Research and Development Agency in Abuja, officials say public opposition to the use of GMOs in Nigeria is often tied to deep disinformation and misinformation, often rooted in fears of food colonialism.
I'm happy that you came here, you went to the farm, and you had a tour of the farm, and you saw wheat, growing everywhere, competing with those GM crops on the farm, be it Teller maize or PBR cowpea, all there. And I remember that even ants survive on that field. Ants, I'm sure you had checked very well, there's nothing you can't find in it. Ant is the tiniest of all the insects over there, but ants survive. We started planting GM crops in that environment from 2016. I think it's almost 9 years. Yeah, 9 years today. We've been using that same land, like, in fact, sometimes twice a year, because sometimes in the dry season we still do demo trials, so that people will come see, because seeing is believing, so that when people see, they believe that yes, these things are not artificial, they're not chemicals and all. And so we've been doing that, and that soil is still fertile up till today.
Amid climate change and population growth projected to hit 9.5 billion globally by 2050, pro-GMO experts say the technology holds the key to meeting the social and economic demands of the coming generation.
It can actually contribute maybe 30 to 40% to the economy if we have adopted. But if we go into full adoption, if we invest in this, invest in research and development, the sky will be our limit in terms of food security.
Across the world, at least 39 countries have banned the cultivation of GMO crops on their land and the importation and sale of their produce due to scientific, political, economic, and social factors. Nevertheless, experts say GM crops have raised yields by about 22% and cut pesticide applications by 37% since 1996, generating $116.6 billion in farm-level economic benefits over 17 years.
Nigeria is already an import country, and we're trying to use these innovative technologies to, stop us from importing, so we can be food sufficient. We can feed ourselves and then have enough to feed our population, and then have enough to export.
As Nigeria pushes for food sufficiency, the conversation on GMOs is likely to intensify. But experts agree the real solution lies not in fear, but in facts and informed choices. GMOs offer Nigeria a shot at food security only if innovation is balanced with caution through stronger policies, local control, and open dialogue.